F-35 versus J-35. A comparison of these epic fighters. As seen in Eagle Dynamics 2025 and beyond on YouTube, we are granted some eye candy of future releases. Amongst them are the very modern Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II, seen at 626. But we also get a glimpse of another epic 35. No, I'm not talking about the Shenyang J-35. I'm of course talking about the Saab J-35J Draken, seen at 144. Comparing a Gen 5 fighter with a Gen 3 seems absolutely ridiculous. So, seems like a reasonable thing to do in 2025. The F-35 Lightning, or Fat Amy as it also is called, is one cool aircraft with many faces. She has different versions and capabilities, whether it's going to serve for the Air Forces, the A model, C-TOL, or US Marines or US Navy, the B model, S-TOL, or the C model, Catobar. I have very little personal hands-on experience dealing with her in real life. Well, I have been talking to F-35Bs as an air traffic controller, see them take off and land conventionally at Luleå-Kallax Air Force Base up in northern part of Sweden. But I've also seen them in action within a CRC, standing there behind their fighter control and see what they can do and can't do. But I'm not privy to tell you much about their performance. I can say, though, that their radar is like, and their weapons are as effective as with the exception, of course, for But what I do know and can talk about is the J-35J Draken. The Draken was built by Saab in 1955, but the J-35J variant seen in the ED video was not in service until the late 80s. For your kids out there to get a grasp of all that, Draken went from being a boomer to become a millennial. Not a bad race. The F-35 started as a Zoomer, and the later models are becoming a Gen Alpha. Draken means dragon and kite. It's the same word in Swedish. But the designer Erik Bratt, whom I met, said that the name was due to its resemblance to a kite. Yes, I know. But a dragon sounds cooler, so yes, let's call it Draken, okay? The first J in the J-35J stands for Jakt, or fighter in English. And the last J is the variant number, U1, like Juliet. The aircraft was the backbone of the Swedish Air Force during the 60s and 70s, all being deployable to road bases. The double delta configuration of the wing allowed the Draken to fly slow enough to use ordinary 1-kilometer roads in Sweden as remote bases. Yes, the S-TOL and the Catobar versions of the Amy can do better, but with extra technical help like an extra engine, a catapult, a resting wire, and so forth, according to Wikipedia. Performance. The real Zoomer, however, is the Draken, not Fat Amy. Draken was built as an interceptor, accelerate fast and climb up high to quickly engage high-altitude Soviet nuclear bombers. So to this day, its specs is actually still really impressive, climbing at about 10.5 kilometers per minute, that is 34,000 feet per minute. By the way, do Americans still use minutes? The Amy does, in comparison with her much more powerful engine, only 5.5 kilometers, that is 18,000 feet, per minute, according to Wikipedia. The range of the Draken. One of Draken's Achilles' heels was the combat range. It is virtually taking off with minimum fuel. It was built to specs, that means sort is around 30 minutes. Let's just note that the last version of Draken had 4 550 liters external tanks, almost doubling the fuel capacity. Effective range is then about 2,700 kilometers, same as Amy, according to Wikipedia. Service ceiling. The Draken was no stranger to stratospheric flights. It had a service ceiling at 20 kilometers, that's 66,000 feet, but could zoom up higher. No, it was not an SR-71 interceptor. Yes, it did try that. I've talked to pilots and controllers doing this. These SR-71 intercepts was kind of a cowboy game. Everybody wanted to show their worth. But the Draken didn't have the radar or missiles to do the job properly. That was the job for the Viggens, the fighter variant, GA-37 Viggen. The Fat Amy can get up to 15 kilometers, that's 50,000 feet, according to Wikipedia. Maneuverability. The Draken is rated -3 to +7 Gs, but could operate in a much bigger range. +9 Gs were common, and reports of the aircraft and pilots survive loads of -9, yes, you heard right, and +16 G, and still walk away from the aircraft to be used another day. I know, probably would have to put in a new engine, but still, the airframe was a tough build. The Lightning is rated up to +9 Gs for the A model and less for the others, according to Wikipedia. Cobra. The Draken was the first aircraft to do the Pugachev Cobra, or the dynamic deceleration. At the time, the Soviet hero, pilot Viktor Pugachev, was just coming off his mother's tit. The Cobra maneuver, or kort parad, short parry as it was called in Sweden, was extensively used by Draken pilots during its years. By the pilots in the southern Sweden, however, the maneuver was called waka, and that is a very special dialect. The parry is actually a controlled beginning of a super stall. A super stall is where the airflow completely detaches from any controlled surfaces and lifting wing, resulting in loss of control. In a mock dogfight, or a real one, between the F and J-35, Amy would win, no doubt, I know, doing the waka or not. The Lightning does not aggressively enter superstall, even though it looked like that over at Ailsons Air Force Base the other week. But she does, however, lose all lift over the wing when landing vertically or when standing parked on the apron, according to Wikipedia. Systems. The Draken was in many ways impressive from the start. It had, from the early 60s, capability to receive target tracking commands and vectors from GCI, like a Link 11, but way earlier and with much more capability. I have been fighting controlling the Draken as a GCI using this data link. It was a lot of buttons to push, yes, and your Striops, the tracker, needed to be at the top of his game. The data link could guide the radar to look at the right place for a radar lock, or the more menacing, just guide the radar silent Draken to a stern attack and pop a Fox 2, sort of like stealth. Not like hiding Fat Amy from radar pulses, but still. The Draken radar was somewhat similar to a short-range F4 radar, X-band single target track thingamadingy. The Draken also had a 71 November IR tracker under the nose, giving the pilots more buttons to push. The systems on the Amy is probably not on the Wikipedia. Armament. The J-35J Draken had one 30mm cannon and could take a wide variety of missiles. Robot 27, AM-26 Bravo, Robot 28, AM-4 Charlie, Robot 24, AM-9 Bravo, or the Robot 24 Johan, AM-9 P3. It also had air-to-air unguided rockets for the big juicy Soviet bombers. Amy has a variety of weapons, all hidden for public eye, including bombs, missiles, and a 27mm gun, according to Wikipedia. Some trivia. My last GCI fighter controlling was with a two-ship Draken. Yes, I have flown the Draken. Yes, my dad stole a Draken. Yes, I wish I was a Draken pilot. Specs. Yeah, I know. F-35 has the better specs, as you can see. It is modern, has new tech with better all with everything. So regardless of what you read on Wikipedia, it might just look like a Fat Amy. So which is better? I don't know. If you watched until now, you know that I'm a strong fan of the Draken. I have no desire to acquire a DCS Fat Amy, she's just not my kind of girl. The Draken, however, will be epic for DCS. Hands-on flying, intercepting targets with the help of GCI Aerial Controller. Yeah, that's me dreaming of being that J-35G pilot. Can't wait for the next 2 weeks to pass. So, if anybody is producing the Draken, give me a holler and I can give you some nice insights, contact information to Draken pilots and other good solid intel. If you are doing the F-35 Lightning too, check Wikipedia. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care.